All right, so today I wanted to talk about something that has honestly been a struggle for me. And it's been something I've been working on, which is following politics. And I'll tell you why it's a struggle, because people think like politics are super important to follow, it's important to be informed, it's important to know what's going on. Like what's going on in the world today, right? So I need to follow politics, so I'm informed. And if the government's going to make some decision that's going to affect me, I need to know about it, because I need to know what is going on so I can vote in the next election the right way, in a way that's going to benefit me. But here's, I guess, the truth of what I've realized. So politics, unless it's like a month or two before the election, you don't need to know anything. You need to know literally nothing about what's going on in the world, about what's going on with Trump, what's going on with Russia, right? Depending on when you're watching this, we're at the height of this whole Trump-Russia collusion story, and everyone's talking about it, right? And the funny thing is, if you watch the two sides of the news, right? You watch Fox News and you watch CNN, right? Both of them are literally saying exactly the opposite thing. And it's like, you turn on CNN, the world's ending. You turn on Fox, like, everything's amazing, it's awesome, right? And whatever. It's like, like, one of them is, they're probably both wrong. They're probably both wrong. And you know why they're probably both wrong? It's because these, news pundits and these news websites. Now, this is actually something that's really important to understand about news. Their job, and the way that they view it, is not to give you the information that you need. Okay? Their job is to keep you watching. And they know exactly how to spin whatever it is they're spinning to be able to trigger, you want to talk about it from a physiological level, to trigger your amygdala so that you're in fear mode, or that you're, basically it's fear. That's usually what they're driving. It's fear. If you turn on CNN, they're talking about how Trump and Russia collude together. If you turn on Fox News, they're talking about the deep state that's trying to destroy America, whatever, right? These are all fear-based stories. Like, they're not actually necessarily based in reality. The reason they're trying to push these stories and these agendas is actually very simple. They want you to keep watching their channels so that they can show you advertising. It's as simple as that, because they know that if they didn't make things sensationalist, or if they didn't make things interesting, you would stop watching. They would stop getting advertising money, right? These are public companies. Their stocks would drop, right? This is the game that you're playing, right? And people think that I need to be informed, or did you hear about this latest scandal or latest whatever? And it's useless. It's absolutely useless to your life. What you need to know is as follows. Okay, let's take the U.S. election cycle. It happens every 4 years. You need to become, during that time, a well-rounded person who understands life. And then, 2-3 months before the election, right, I would watch the presidential debates, right, so you can see what they're talking about, see what the issues are that everyone's talking about. And then what I would do is I would actually go to 2 or 3 friends that you trust on each side of the debate, the right and the left, and ask them what their opinion is. Okay? And between that, you can probably make a pretty good decision on who to vote for, right? But people think I gotta watch, Fox News or CNN all day long to be able to make sure that I stay informed. So what do you actually, so why is it bad for you? Okay, I'll tell you why it's bad for you. Let's start with first discussing the time waste, okay? Because it's a huge waste of time, and this is something that I'm totally guilty of. I am a big Ben Shapiro fan. I think he's awesome. I think I like his approach, his logical approach on topics and things. And but it's the type of thing like I needed to stop myself and say, you know what, he's got a show every single day. I cannot listen to the show because I need to be filling up my time and my life with much better quality content. So I started to like make the shift to be like, okay, I'm going to start watching videos on Motiversity, Tom Bilyeu, business stuff, smart passive income. I even started listening to what's his name, Tai Lopez, because like his content is really good and really wholesome stuff. I wouldn't buy necessarily any of his programs because I think he's just a very good marketer. But I think in terms of his message and his substance of what he has to say, he actually said something very interesting about politics. He said, most people who like obsess about politics, what's actually happening is that they're reliving, or you want to talk about psychology, they're reliving the feeling of my parents are supposed to take care of me in adulthood, and now instead of parents, it's the government. Okay, and basically you're just driving towards this socialistic type of approach as opposed to I'm going to take responsibility and take control of my life. Okay, and that's what's actually happening. So I thought that was a very interesting point that he was making. So in terms of what you should actually fill your time up with, okay, there's a really interesting concept I learned from a guy named Michael Masterson. That there's 3 types of content that you can fill up your time with. Okay, he calls it poison, vaporous, and golden. Right? So poison, you can probably figure out what that is. We're talking about pornography or rap music or stuff with really bad messages. Okay, stuff that's toxic for your mind. Vaporous is probably most TV shows and movies. It's not necessarily gonna harm you, but it's not necessarily good for you. And usually the litmus test is like when you're done, do you feel filled up or not, or you're kind of like, oh, I just wasted 2 hours. And then the third is called golden, right? And golden is generally the hardest to do because it generally will take some effort. And he actually kind of breaks it down in terms of like physical activity you can do, and what types of movies you can watch, right? So like vaporous content would be, let's say something where you're going to learn something, you have to think. So like let's say a really good historical drama, right? Like the Lincoln movie, right? Right. It's not an easy movie to watch. You have to think a lot in that movie, but in the end, you'll wind up feeling pretty good. Or a good documentary. Or my favorite is to read books. Honestly, don't watch movies at all. Just read books. I'm right now going through about 20 books a year. And I want to be able to increase that number. But the best thing you can do is going to be books, right? So in the book Flow, and I'm totally going to butcher his name, Miley Kliaminski, I think his name is, okay? But it's like a very famous book from the early 90s called Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. So what he says in that book is that the experiences that you create in your life literally make up your worldview and your mindset, meaning that if you watch stuff where, let's say, you watch the news, for example, you will just view the world as a dangerous, horrible place because that's all you filled up your mind. It literally becomes the essence of your identity, okay? Whereas on the flip side, if you're filling up your mind with motivational stuff, with good information, with knowledge about, by the way, books on politics are very different from following politics in the news. Okay, so that like I would kind of put that more back into like the golden category in terms of actually understanding what's going on from a book level. Because the difference between a book versus watching a movie, right? Movies and podcasts and audio stuff are great ways for getting information fast. But books make the content much more a part of you because you're layering information generally over a week or two or a month, depending on how long it becomes much more a part of your identity, and it's a much more that's to become much more a part of your identity than watching videos on YouTube, even quality videos on YouTube. So again, the more reading you can do, the better. So again, and keep in mind just that whatever activity that you're doing, whatever action that you're doing, you got to ask yourself: is this something that's helping me, or am I just wasting time? Because understand that you're literally creating your identity based on the content that you're consuming. You're literally creating, and by creating that identity, you're literally creating your worldview. And again, I'm not saying this from like a woo-woo level. I'm saying this from from a psychology level, right? This is actual psychology in terms of understanding how your brain works and how you view the world. And so what's the objection? People will say, I need to be informed because I need to be informed. Like, what if I don't know what's going on and something happens and I die because I didn't know what was going on? It's not going to happen. It's complete BS. What you need to do is understand that the real struggle and the real fight is not to get pulled into all these things which are by design meant to grab your attention and be addicting. Fight against it and retrain your mind to be like, okay, what activity am I doing right now? Is this activity poison, vaporous, right, neutral, or is it golden? And try and move more towards the golden activities. Again, the default that I would do is read books. Right? Read books. Books these days are extremely accessible. You don't even need to take a book with you anymore. Right? I've got tons of books on a Kindle, and it's all on my phone. So anywhere that you are, you can just pull out your phone. You can read a couple pages. It's not a heavy lift to do that anymore. I would say even the next category is going to be some type of an audio thing, a podcast, something you can listen to in the car or when you're exercising. And yeah. So bottom line, stay away from politics. Understand the difference between the golden, vaporous, and poison type of content and activity. And you are literally going to change your psychology, which will change your identity, which will change your life. All right. So if you like videos like this, please subscribe in the link below. I'm looking to start ramping up this channel. And if you have anything you want to know about, also leave a comment below in the comment field. And I will address anything you want to know about. All right. Subscribe. See ya. Bye.